Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, July 29th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And also if you trade Bitcoin, I will do a bonus analysis at the end. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick right there will be moving around. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then finally, if you would like for me to do an analysis on one of your positions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll do my best to get to that in a future video. So stock number one, ticker symbol SERV. Nice mover today. I did this one previously. That's where the red and green lines are coming from, and that's where the first updates begin. So just going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. First key update comes about based on a foundational rule and chart in which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So moving forward, the ideal level of support would be right there around $12.37. Ideal meaning, if you're saying, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest going forward? Definitely if the price could stay above this area. Now, with that being said, if the price falls below it, not the end of the world, because you do still have this overarching level right there. That purple line, the 50-period moving average, which you can see right there, did a fantastic job of holding that support. But yeah, preferably speaking, what would make it look the strongest? Definitely if the price can stay above that level right there. In terms of areas of resistance, pretty straightforward here. Have a nice, well-defined trend line here that's been put into play, so you can watch that. And if you like to play breakouts, and in some senses got a nice little bull flag pattern right there too if you want to look at it from that angle. But point here being, any way you want to look at it, key is if you like to play breakouts and a move up there and a push up through that level could indeed create some additional buying pressure. But all in all, nice way to end the week here for STRV. Next one, ticker symbol BFI, and somewhat difficult to talk about because it's all about perspective. If you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, the chart is an absolute train wreck. But from the big picture point of view, even with the bigger pullback here, part of the bigger picture is saying, okay, fair enough, the price did pull back here, but what was happening before this pullback? And you would say, well, the price was down here and then it exploded all the way up to that high right there, which is now giving me the ability to draw a bull flag pattern. To reiterate, I'm well aware that if you're, bought right there, you don't care about this bull flag pattern. So I'm just trying to talk about multiple kind of strategies and multiple angles all at once. But big picture wise, you do still, even with the pullback, you have a bull flag. Now, if this thing crashes all the way down here, the bull flag has been completely eliminated. But as of right now, the chart is hanging in there. So that is, one way you can look at it. And then just from a more straightforward support standpoint, nothing fancy here other than just, kind of where did this pullback finally stop? And that was right there at the 43-cent mark. So keep an eye on there from the support standpoint. And then again, in terms of areas of resistance, you can get a nice little trend line drawn into play there and use that as a breakout point, just like we saw on that first one. So I would say the biggest difference here is that the first one was not a penny stock, but this one is a penny stock. Next one, NVDA. Relatively good mover today, kind of all over the place, but here we are. Now we're looking at NVDA. I just noticed that the one we were looking at just a moment ago was just NVD, and I forgot the A. Maybe you noticed that right away, but can you tell it's Friday? Good thing it's Friday. But so NVDA, there we go. This looks a little bit more clear, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video previously, but if you did, hopefully you remember me talking about that 111.40 mark as an area of support. And I mean, the power of charts. Check it out. Price came down here and bounce essentially right off that green line. So again, not patting myself on the back, but certainly patting charts on the back. So good to see that level hold. And that is an important level because if the price were to drop below there and separate to the downside, what you would have at that point is the price essentially going back to where it was. And that's not exactly a sign of true strength when a price makes a great bounce and then rolls right back to where it was. But as of right now, the price, by leveling out there, gives us a low right there. You look at that low down there, and if you envision those as stair steps, you now have stair steps progress in the upwards direction, and that's what progress is all about. Nothing can go straight up, but you at least want to see progress, and that's what's being represented there. In terms of areas of resistance, if this price continues on up, continue to watch that purple line there, 50-period moving average, keyword being moving, so as next week plays out, that line will move itself downwards and get more and more relevant, but definitely keep a close eye on that. But in my opinion, at least, the most important thing was maintaining above that green line, and it did that very beautifully, so let's see if it can maintain that next week. Next one here is CVM, and this one was an absolute train wreck, very ugly chart, but you longer time viewers know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity ugly, and the opportunity is maybe already starting to show itself, so let's get this changed to green for support. And that is the fact that this was a previous area of support right down here around $1.17. So before the big move happened, you can see it leveled off right there. Up here, nasty, terrible move all the way down here. But look right where it started to go sideways. Basically right above that green line. And now as I speak, check it out. This candle showing some signs of life. So does that guarantee anything? Of course not. But does that now make it a valid question of, hey, is this thing getting ready for another, even if it's just a dead cat bounce where it goes like this and comes back down? I mean, from a trading standpoint, that's plenty of wiggle room to get some profits. But my point here is that with the last 30 minutes showing signs of life, after a nasty move down, going sideways at support, it certainly becomes very plausible to at least throw out the question, hey, is this thing getting ready to bounce back upward? So if you like these sorts of scenarios, you like this price range down below $2, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, TIVC. Very disappointing 30-minute session right there, which really kind of wiped out several gains. But overall, the chart's hanging in there, and I think the easiest way to illustrate that is just to get a trend line in play. Because even with that bigger pullback, you can see that trend line right there is still upwards. The price is still above it. So yes, disappointing 30-minute session there, but overall, the bulls are still in control via the price being above that trend line right there. So that's definitely going to be, if you haven't connected those dots, the very important level of support moving forward. In regards to levels of resistance, pretty straightforward here. You can see several times the price has gotten right up here around the 73.5-cent mark, and it's, oh, whoa, now it's coming down there. Oh, that was strange. Must have been a little bit of a blip. But anyways, price came up here several times. And has, that's just where the momentum has, continued to disappear. But nonetheless, keep an eye on that 74 or 73.5-cent mark from a resistance standpoint. And right there, you can see just actually bounced off of it. So good to see that level's holding. And we'll see how things, well, the market closes here in less than a minute. So I'm assuming it'll stay above that level. But nonetheless, let's see if the price next week can get a bounce off of that trend line. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the webpage you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, WINT. Nice looking pattern here. Very nice chart just because of this reason right here. Got to think a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there, so that's not me trying to impress you. That's not me implying it's a great discovery. A lot of people have drawn that, and I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So if the price were to come up here and break through there, it's a very rational thought that that break in and of itself could create that much more upside buying pressure. So keep an eye on that resistance trend line moving forward. And then in terms of areas of support, pretty straightforward here, just a question of where did the pullback stop, and you can see that it stopped right there at about $6.18. Several times you can see the bears try to press down below there, but the bulls dug in and did a great job right there. So keep an eye on that if you like to play pullbacks, but if you like to play breakouts, then you got to think everybody and their brother's uncle has drawn that trend line, and we will be watching that as the key breakout point. Next one here, SGMO, same general idea of what I just talked about. Got to think a lot of people have thrown in a resistance area right there around the dollar mark. As you can see here, rejected, a spike above it there. But like I said, going back to that whole talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, you got to think there, it's valid to think that one could exist right there at that dollar mark from the breakout standpoint. And then in terms of areas of support, very well defined where the buyers decided to hang out today. And that was right down here around the 83-cent mark. I'm not going to count the number of times, but you can see price spent a whole lot of time right down around there and continually, maintaining that area. Now, from a bigger picture standpoint, if the price does fall below that green line, then from the overarching standpoint, you'll want to continue to watch that purple line there, 50-period moving average. And as that line moves itself higher and higher, if you envision that as an overall trend line, well then by definition, as long as the price stays above the overall uptrending trend line, then the overall trend is in the upwards direction. But yeah, preferably speaking, staying above that level right there would be best. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. This will be very, very quick because there's really nothing to report from the previous videos that I've done. But nonetheless, I realize that maybe this is the first video you watch. But previously, I've been talking about how it's looking like a sideways channel pattern had a very real chance of developing. And that's exactly what we have now fully in effect. So these lines here I've had for the past couple of days. Top of this sideways channel right up there at 226. So resistance, bottom of the support, or bottom of the channel, the support down there at 214.50. And now it did get pretty close to it this, earlier today. And to give credit's due, the bottom of the channel held just fine. But that's really what, where things stand with Tesla going into next week. Who is ultimately going to win this battle? Are the bulls going to win with a break to the upside? or the bears going to win with a break to the downside? That is the key question. So grab your popcorn, and we'll see who ultimately wins this battle next week. Next one, PLTR. Nice bounce over the past couple of days. Although I will say a very well-defined area of resistance has made itself apparent now. Right here around $27.35. Going back to the history of things, you can see rejected the price. Didn't quite hit it. Hit it directly, rejected. And then this afternoon just hung right below it. And the problem with that is even if the price does break above that level, don't get me wrong, that is good. But you don't want to get too excited. And why don't you want to get too excited? Well, not that far away and looming right overhead is that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. So sometime on Monday, because again, that is a moving average, that line will move itself and then go down below that red line. And at that point, the purple line actually takes a higher priority and is that first key level of resistance. But as of right now, red line is first key level of resistance, and then the purple line is the second. But sometime on Monday, that will reverse around. And so just keep that in mind into next week. As far as key levels of support, the level that I would definitely say is very, very important is this level right here at 2640. For the reason that I used previously, if the price were to come down here and then break down below there, what do you have at that point? Well, now you start to have the price having gone right back to where it was. And as I said earlier, that's just not a sign of genuine power. For a price to make a very nice bounce and then go right back to where it was, yeah, those are what are called dead cat bounces. But as of right now, you can't call this a dead cat bounce because it is maintaining itself and it's still got a chance of putting those higher lows, which are those signs of progress. Next one, TQQQ, and like Tesla, not a whole lot to say here other than it's looking like the sideways channel has officially been confirmed. So we have one of those popcorn battles that, you just got to grab your popcorn because it's just a question of now who's ultimately going to win the battle. At the top of the channel resistance, we have 6740. At the bottom of the channel support, we have down there at 62. So it's really just a question of who's ultimately going to, push up through that level. But the good news is if you like to trade volatility, I mean, this was still, some good volatile movements, within the channel today. But if you're caring more so about just a kind of a bigger picture of things and what's going on from more of a macro chart perspective, then nothing really happened today just because, well, it's still stuck within the channel. Again, micro perspective, of course things happen. It was, down here and then up here and then down there. But macro-wise, bigger picture, still just waiting to see who's ultimately going to win out of this battle of the sideways channel pattern. So that's really the most straightforward way is like Tesla, sideways channel pattern. We'll grab your popcorn, grab your Sour Patch Kids, and we'll see who wins this battle. I will get to Bitcoin here in just a second, but for you stock traders out there, again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, go get signed up for that free webinar next week. It'll be Thursday, August 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is a truly live event, and I say that because there will be a question and answer session, so please bring your questions, and I'd be happy to answer them live for you. All right, now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick clarification, we are now using the 4-hour time frame, so each one of these candlesticks represents 4 hours instead of 30 minutes, and given Bitcoin is open 24/7, by using the 4-hour, that'll allow me to keep this video relevant for as long as possible. But wow, Bitcoin sure did come to life over the past 24 hours since I last did the video. I mean, to think it was down here and now all the way up here, it is knocking on the door of potentially breaking out through that key level, which I talked about several days ago. So let's just assume you're watching this, let's say Sunday afternoon. So question number one you need to ask yourself is, where is the price at relative to 68,500? If you're answering the question that the price is up above there, that is a good thing. That means a breakout has occurred. How good of a thing? Well, very easy to answer that. Well, how far above 68,500 is it? The further up above, that just means the bigger the breakout and the better the environment has become. But that's where things start off in my mind is just take an inventory check. Where is the price at relative to that level right there? Now, if you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is down below 68,500, that's okay. The next immediate question would be, okay, where's the price at relative to that purple line there, 50-period moving average? If the price is down below there, again, not the end of the world, but yeah, things are looking a little bit shakier, but will definitely make things look a whole lot more shaky, and I highly doubt you're answering it this way. But if somehow you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is also down below 63,250. At that point, that means the bears are having a very, very good weekend because that implies that the price, which as I speak right now on Friday afternoon, has dropped all the way down here. And not only that, has actually broken down below there. Again, I doubt you're answering the questions that way, but nonetheless, that would be the way to, kind of go about this from an analysis standpoint. But yeah, 68,500. Is it going to break? I'm a little jealous of those of you watching on Sunday because you're going to have the answer. You'll probably know whether or not it's broken above there or not. But as of right now, that's a big question mark. And as I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader to go get signed up for this free live webinar also because what you're learning about can and definitely should be used within the world of crypto and Bitcoin also. So like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, August 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and as mentioned, it is live, so bring your questions, and I'd be happy to answer them during the question and answer session. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do a couple things for me. It helps out the channel. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below, tell me your watch list for next week, or like I said earlier, if you have a request, leave that in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get to that in a future video. So thanks for watching, have a great weekend, and go get signed up for that free class.